All right, so our next topic of discussion is percent yield. And the thing with percent yield is that you almost never get as much product as you calculate. Going back to the sandwich analogy, let's say that you could make, 20 sandwiches or something like that, but you end up dropping a slice of cheese on the floor, and now you can't make 20 sandwiches anymore because that's gross to use that piece of cheese. So you can only make 19 sandwiches. The same thing in chemistry. Whenever we're doing all of our techniques, our transferings, it's very easy to spill a little bit or just not fully transfer something. So that might limit our yield. The other thing is the actual reaction itself. Sometimes chemical reactions just simply don't produce 100% yield, no matter how good you are. So the equation for percent yield is equal to the actual yield. So that's what you really get, divided by the theoretical yield. Right, what you could have gotten, and then we generally and then you multiply by 100% to make it a percentage. In general, with the problems, the actual yield is generally given to you. There's no mathematical way to find out what that would actually be because that depends on the skill of the chemist and the actual reaction itself. And then the theoretical yield is what you calculated, right? This is saying I could have made this much stuff, right? So it's either given or you have to calculate it. So just as a short example problem, if you could have formed 10.4 grams of aluminum chloride, or my bad, silver chloride, but only got 8.4 grams, what is the percent yield? So this will just be kind of a plug and chug type of problem, right? Our percent yield is our actual over theoretical times 100%. And so we take our 8.4 grams, that's what we actually got, plug that into there. We divide that by 10.4 grams, that's our theoretical yield, that's what we could have gotten. Plug that into our calculator, and you should get 81%. This 81% means nothing to you in a vacuum because you don't know the actual chemical reactions. Some reactions are super efficient, some are not, right? Just some general rules of thumb. You can't have greater than 100% yield. It's simply not possible. That would mean that you have created matter, and we cannot create matter. So anytime you see over 100% yield, either you did the calculations incorrectly or you did some of the chemistry incorrectly. The most common cause of having over 100% yield is that there's still solvent or like water in your compound, right? So let's say you make, silver chloride, but you don't fully dry it. So it's got a bunch of water weight there, and then you might get over your theoretical yield. But that you're not actually getting over 100% yield. You're just not doing it correctly. And then just to reiterate, percent yield is variable. It depends on both the reaction. Some reactions are high yield, some are low yield, and that's just kind of the way they are. And of course, the skill of the chemist. Right? If you're not very good and you drop half of your product down on the floor and you can't collect it, then obviously your yield is going to be less. But just because you have a low percent yield doesn't necessarily mean that you did something wrong. It could just be the reaction itself.